I've tried several barbells of differing qualities, and I really think that the most important consideration for your bar is how long it is. I work out in my shed. Space is really limited. If you have a home gym or you're starting a home gym and you are asking yourself, how much barbell can I fit in my space? I'm hoping that this video will be useful for you. I have about 6 feet of width here for my squat stand. This isn't a standard width squat stand, we'll get to that in a second, but standard barbells, full-size barbells, are 7 feet long. So obviously in this space, a full-size barbell isn't going to work. You know, they have short barbells that are just under 6 feet long that can still fit in a standard width power rack. The Rogue Stump, which is a really nice barbell. It's the shortest rackable power bar on the market, which is why I bought it. And as you can see, it does fit. And I have been using this barbell in this space for the better part of the last year, but it's less than ideal for the main reason being that it is really just short enough. It makes it so that it's really tight on either end for trying to squeeze plates on. And then I have to have it centered, because if it's not perfectly centered when I'm doing my exercises, or if I tip a little bit one way or the other, then I bump into the walls on either side. So the shortest rackable power bar was still too long, and I thought, you know what, maybe I don't need a power bar. What is the shortest rackable barbell that I can find? And that was this one. It's a Rogue 10 kilogram training bar, which is made for children. It's not really a nice barbell, but I prefer this over the stump bar because it just gave me that little bit more space on either end where I didn't have to wrestle with the bar so much. The training bar, the 10 kilogram bar, is just a little bit shorter than the stump, which is a shame because the stump's a really nice bar. I would prefer to use this bar if I had the space for it, but since space is a consideration, this bar was winning out for a while. And even then, ended up making my rack narrower so that I could fit a 5-foot barbell. It's also a Rogue barbell. I'm not sponsored by Rogue. I just live close to their headquarters in Columbus, and I go up there for work sometimes. So every time I drive by, I stop and check out what they've got in their garage sale section. If you're ever driving through Columbus, definitely check it out. It's a really cool facility. But see the difference. There was just a little bit of space that I was gaining going from the stump bar to the training bar here. But with this little 5-foot barbell, look how much space I gain. Extra, I don't know, 7 inches or something. And this has made a huge difference. Gives me enough space on both sides that I can get my plates on much easier now, and I can do my exercises without hitting the sides. Because it's shorter, it weighs less, so it's only, how much does this weigh? It is 25 pounds instead of a 45-pound standard bar. If you have kids that are just getting into it, a shorter, lighter barbell is going to be more approachable for them than a full-sized 7-foot, 45-pound barbell. I can still fit on these short collars 4 standard-sized 45-pound plates, which with a 25-pound bar gives you 385. And that's a lot of weight for almost everyone, that will be enough weight to get an awesome workout in. My recommendation is that you look for a barbell that is at least 1 foot or 30 centimeters shorter than the width of the space that you have. That will give you 6 inches or 15 centimeters on either side of the barbell that you can use to load it up, and gives you a margin of error to work with for when you're doing your exercises so that you're not bumping into things. And so if you have less than 7 feet of space, that means you need to look into a non-standard rack setup, either independent squat stands that they're not connected at the base, so you can just move each side independently. That's why they're independent squat stands, to make them be however narrow you need them to be, or an adjustable width rack. There is a trade-off when you go for a narrower rack, and that is your rack footprint gets smaller, but that also means there's less space within the rack for you to do your exercises in. Normally, in a standard size bench, I would probably put my index finger on the ring, but now, because there's not enough space for my hand there, I have to put my pinky finger on the ring. And if my elbows flare out, then I'm gonna hit my safeties here. So I have to make sure my elbows are tucked. That's probably better, safer for my shoulders anyways. So it's a good reminder for me, but for you, you might not fit. I know Coop from Garage Gym Reviews says all the time that you shouldn't go cheap on your bar. If there's one thing that you spend for a premium product, you should spend it on your bar. I don't know that I really agree with that advice. I've tried several barbells of differing qualities, and I really think that the most important consideration for your bar is how long it is. Even if you have an established home gym and you have a standard size power rack with a standard size bar, one of the running jokes within the home gym subreddit is that nobody has space for everything. Doesn't matter how much space you have, you will fill it up with equipment, machines, in my case, climbing walls. So if that sounds like you have enough space for a full-size bar, you have a full-size bar and a full-size power rack, but you're still feeling tight on space, I really see no downsides in moving from a standard size bar to a short rackable bar. And it doesn't even matter what kind of lifting you're doing, because they make short bars that are for all kinds of weightlifting disciplines. You only start getting into trade-offs when you go for a non-rackable bar. And if you don't use spotter arms for your rack setup, then that's less of a consideration also, because once you get it unracked, if there's no spotter arms in your way, then you've got all the space you need, just dependent on the length of the bar that you're using. So I hope my experience helps, and let me know what you think.